Hey guys, what's up? As you can see here, I actually have some sword footage. This was a recent match, and I say match in quotes here, and I'll get into that in a second. Well, a couple of seconds. But basically, this is a match between me and my friend Nick, who some of you guys may recognize as the dude that I had with me when I did my demonstration on some basic Chinese sword maneuvers. Um, you guys may remember that I put up a video a little while ago, like several videos back, um, on me sparring with another guy who was using a boken, and then I was using my Chinese sword type techniques, and I was not happy with my performance in that match, in that fight at all, and it bothered me. It still does. So yesterday I had a match with my friend Nick. And when I mean say yesterday, I mean Friday of this week. So whenever you're watching this, just I don't know, just try to figure out when that day was. But anyway, yesterday I sparred with him for a bit, and it was not necessarily for us, to spar and just like fight each other or whatever. It was more I wanted him to see where I was fucking up, and then give his advice and his basically his ideas on what I needed to work on and what to correct. Now, I must state that Nick is not a Chinese stylist himself. However, because he's been working with swords for such a long time, and because he understands the basic fundamentals of how you generally move with it, he's usually able to see like where you're open, where you're kind of messing up, and things like that. And he's able to give advice on, okay, maybe you might want to work with this and that. Plus, he knows a bit of how I move anyway. We've been sparring with each other for a long time now. So he knows how I move, he knows the techniques I like to employ, and many times he's able to go, you should be doing this, or you might want to think about doing that, and it corresponds perfectly with the way I'm supposed to fight. So whenever I feel like I'm having a problem with how I'm fighting, I go to Nick. He's like my Mr. Fix-It. And I really felt like I needed some fixing this time, because again, I was not happy with my performance. I know some of you guys had some rather nice compliments, but I really was not happy with how it was working. And there was quite a bit to fix. You might have already noticed a few things. Like he's pretty good at Nick is really good at what he does. He's a natural at this, and he knows how to keep people back. He knows his distancing. He knows his spacing. So he was able to be able to watch me and just slowly probe at my defenses while I'm trying to probe at his. And even though I was able, you'll see there are a couple of times I'm able to get to his hands and get to his arms, but for the most part, I really have to work at it. And there are like very subtle counters, like right there, where he was able to get me. Because again, he knows what he's doing. Um, there are two recordings that, well, one of them I'll hopefully be able to put up later, because this right now, like I said, this was more me like testing the things I was trying to drill and work on. Oh yeah, I accidentally knocked his the handle off of his plastic tin. He was using a gin just like I was, because he felt it would be best for us to use the same weapons. What was I saying? This is actually one of two recordings. This recording was me with Nick. He got me in the top of my head there, I think. It's hard for me to tell. The screen, I have a really small screen, so on the footage. Actually, now, well, you guys don't see this, but I just made it easy for me to see what's going on, so I could be able to narrate better. But I got one. Yeah, he got me really good there. I got him in the neck, but he had snuck in a good blow there. This match was against him, where I was asking for his advice on stuff. That match, he got me in the top of the head, I think. I got him in the stuff, but he got me in the head. And that one, I think he got me in the head again. I'm not too sure. But the next match, I'm hoping somebody else, because somebody else recorded it. This was recorded off my phone, so I was able to upload this immediately. But somebody else recorded my other match who had a friend of mine named Richie, who's also part of the Historical Fencing Guild, which I'm a part of, which is just a group of us friends there. We just kept going after each other's hands there. That was a nice little quick exchange. The other match I had was against my friend Richie, who he specializes in German longsword and is pretty decent at it. And I was able to use some of what Nick told me to focus on in that match, and I think I did a bit better. This match was more me like probing. Like right now, we're just kind of like just doing a little playing around. But later on, you're gonna notice us stopping a lot because he's gonna then like offer his advice and such and point out what he thinks I need to work on, which is quite helpful. That's why I like going to Nick for these things. I'm not sure what's going on here. I should get to narrating what's actually happening instead of just like yapping, because you guys get the point, I'm sure.
Great quality on this camera.
I didn't even know she said that. It's because I got a good phone. He was just playing around there. Notice I was not phased. Every now and then we're just like messing with each other. And again, is the handguard in this thing. His handguard slips off a lot, so. Alright, now we're going right back into it. He just had to readjust the sword, and now I think this is going to be where we're just hardcore, like, okay, I'm going to do stuff, and then he's going to like point out what he thinks I need to work on a bit. So there I'm going for his hand again. I'm mostly just going for the hand. Like, he was trying to make sure not to go for my head. Like, many times he would see an opening to my head, and he would gesture at it, but he wouldn't try to hit me because we're not wearing helmets, so he wanted to be careful. That one, he almost got me right in the gut. That one just got like right to my shirt, but it didn't go all the way through, like hit the side. And I'm talking about it now, but I felt that I should count it anyway because I wasn't able to stop it. So yeah, I'm not like, my footwork has gotten a little bit better from the last match with Al. Like, I'm using a bit more side stuff, but I still end up not folding inward the way I should. And he pointed that out, that I need to fold a bit more. We worked on that a bit after this footage, where it started like drilling the folding motions that I need to do. That's one thing I kind of miss. I haven't had, it's only recently that I've been able to really get back to, sparring every week, or every other week, depending on my schedule. And one thing I miss is that he and I used to do drills all the time, and that really helps with my timing, but I haven't had that lately. I got him a good tap there. But I haven't been doing that lately, and it's showing, and I really need to get back into that. I think he got me there. I can't tell. Maybe you guys could tell, but I think he got me there. Look for his hand again. We're both rotating around. It's too bad I can't hear what we're saying, because if I could, if I could hear exactly, then I'd be able to, tell you exactly. Oh, okay. Yeah, now we're really starting to talk about crossing in and all that. I think he had got me there. He was just basically showing how it happened and how how he was able to take advantage of when our swords connected. He was able to slip it in, whereas I was trying to slip it in and I got it. I got it the wrong part of his blade. There's like a certain point where you got to use like the center of gravity on your blade to try to overcome theirs, and I didn't get it quite right, and he was able to take advantage of that. So yeah, got both his arms there. See, again, I'm not really too worried about my ability to go at the arms, but that's not, I gotta, be able to do more than that, and that's why I went to him. I'm also not liking how my left arm's getting dead. It's not supposed to be. It used to be a lot more lively. I really need to get a bit more into practice here, because, yeah, I'm keeping my left hand close to, yeah. I forgot about that. I disarmed him and just a quick little flick to his handle and just kind of did a rotation motion and just knocked it down. That was kind of funny. And I was also telling him, like, like to keep that from happening, there's a certain grip that you employ that keeps the sword from flying out your hands like that. So now he's like, if you notice, by the way, he's mostly fencing. Well, rapey. I shouldn't say fencing. His postures, the motions he's doing. He's mostly like, it's hard for me to pin down exactly what Nick does. His background is mostly rapier, but he's also dabbled with long swords a bit and other things, and you can see like little slapdash, little bits of things here and there that he'll employ. But for the most part, I would say that he's relying mostly on using like rapier tactics, hand speed. See, now he's this is where you're saying that, okay, this is why my motion wasn't working, and we're trying to decide whether it's because of the sword or whether it's because I didn't employ it correctly. But he was saying the problem was when I was trying to beat his blade in, to get, like, I would like do a certain circular motion where I would try to knock his blade out the way and instantly come in with an attack. The problem was I wasn't doing it effectively enough. So as my attack would come in, his sword, however, would slip out of the way and then get me anyway. What he's saying is that that's something that has to be addressed. Whether it's the tool I'm using or whether it's my own lack of skill. And I personally think it's the lack of skill, though it could be the sword, because we were then testing how the sword seemed to kind of slip a little too much. But even so, I still think that if I was employing the technique properly, I still should have been able to at least gotten a couple of attacks in correctly. So whether it's the tool or not, see, again, we're still talking about where to clash and where it should be going in. See, yeah, we're just mostly discussing it, and he's saying that he's trying to say that, okay, the thing is, I need to try to clear his weapon and put it to safety first before coming back. He's saying that's the main problem, because as soon as I do that, you see right there, even if I push it slow, he's saying there's a problem there, because from there he can then just quickly go for my hand, and then I'm kind of screwed as his hand then comes up, and either that or I'd have to grab his. You see, right there. And even though I was able to quickly slip my blade to his neck, he still was able to get to my leg. So those are things that he's saying needs to be adjusted on. This needs to be worked on. He's saying, yeah, when you're still talking about the problem is once you get low, if you didn't strike in, then you're leaving yourself open for something. And then go right for the leg. And I mean, looking at this now, this is why I love looking at what I've done. Like I like going back to my fights. I'm seeing now what I have to do, but I'm also seeing that that's something that I'm going to have to drill like crazy. There's a certain motion that I have to really drill against him. Like, it's one thing that when I was doing it with stationary practice and like basic field practice, but in actual fight, especially with these weapons, it's a bit difficult. So it's something that I'm really good. It's a motion that I haven't really done much before, and I've been trying to employ it more. And that could also be a reason why I've been having a problem using it correctly. So, and it's a good thing he actually knew what I was trying to do, because he was saying what I should have been doing there. He was also like showing another problem of when I'm trying to get in, how he would lock my blade with his to get it in. And I'm also trying to explain to him, see, that was another thing I was trying to do. And he was just saying that, yeah, to adjust it, you're going to have to pretty much switch fast. So from connecting from there and then switch to there. And he got to my arm that way, if I didn't shift my body correctly. See, and I'm showing like another little folding action there. What I'm trying to do is just go there and then dip. And into the body there. I really need to work on my left hand. I was saying that earlier. Like, I usually keep my left hand like in the front, like as sort of a shield type motion, or I'll keep it close to my wrist, which is traditional. But I also have to be willing to keep it lively as well, and to balance my motions out as well. It's actually something that somebody else had commented on. Somebody else who I believe had a background in Chinese swordsmanship or commented on my other video, who I've already thanked him, but if he's watching this right now, I want to thank you again, because I really found your tips helpful. I can tell you really knew what you were talking about. I'm not too sure what we were explaining here. I think he was explaining more about trying to keep my head out of range. And that... Oh! Yeah, I actually, that was a really funny moment there. What had actually happened there was that he had basically made a move, and I quickly, like, I kind of parried and quickly slipped my blade in, and I was aiming for his hand, but what happened was my sword ended up stabbing right into his grip, like right where he was actually holding the sword. So if this was real life, I probably would have ended up severing his fingers with that one, and we just kind of had a laugh at that. That's why he went, oh! You know, he's just taking it. So, yeah. And now we're just more testing each other out and probing. It is almost the end of the video, so one thing I want to stress is that I really, really wish that we had the footage that of the stuff we worked on afterwards, because unfortunately my phone was close to dying, so we couldn't record it, and no one else thought to record it. He pointed out the one thing that I have not been doing, and some of you guys will probably, or those of you who are experienced in swordsmanship, no matter what your style is, have probably been screaming this since the very beginning of this video. Why the hell have I not been checking him with my left hand? And that's something that he was like asking me at the end of this. Is like, how come you haven't been checking me like you normally do? You know, like, you know, it's like, you know, like if I parry and I get his sword out the way, don't just rely on that as I'm going in. Use my left hand and reach for his hand, reach for his arm and push it out the way, cover it as I'm coming in. And so, we started working on drills with that. And I was right away, I was like, yeah, that's what I should have been doing. I don't know what it is. Like, I was just like, for some reason, I was like, okay, let me just focus primarily on just straight up blade skill. And yeah, it's good to do that, but it can only take you so far. If you look at, say, Skullagrim's videos, he does a really good job of checking the other person's weapon with his other hand, which is a part of using Chinese swordsmanship, and I should have been employing it here. So yeah, I hope that was enjoyable for you guys and that you were able to, glean some entertainment from it or maybe even something useful. I really do wish I had the footage with him where we worked on the using the left hand, because like once I was like, oh yeah, I was supposed to be using that more. Then all of a sudden everything started working again. And what made things even cooler was he also happened to have had a pair of practice sickles, which apparently he had always been wanting me to use to begin with. So when he had me use a sickle in my left hand and in my right, all of a sudden, like many covering motions that I'm used to using with my bare hands, I was able to basically use with the swords, and my techniques just popped all of a sudden. It just started working. And then he was just, he was like, this is, I've been wanting you to use these sickles for quite some time because I really feel that this complements your style a bit more. And it got me thinking a lot more about, like I need to incorporate using my left hand more when I'm fighting here. I guess a thing is that sometimes I don't want to get too physical with these guys, because there are a couple of really nasty things that you can do when you're fighting with a sword and you decide, like, if you start getting into somewhat grapple range, or if you're checking their hand, things like kicking, tripping them down and stuff like that. And I don't really want to do that with a lot of these guys. Like if I'm going up against like Nick, okay, that's fine, but we're used to, messing with each other. But there are a couple of people in the guild who, mess with, who aren't used to that, or they're still, learning. And I don't want to overwhelm them with stuff like that. And that could be one of the things that kept me from doing things like that. But because I haven't been doing it for a while, I haven't been, if you don't use it, you lose it. And it's like, okay, yeah, I gotta remember to use the left hand a bit more in combat and check the other weapon, and so on and so forth. And the techniques work better that way. Anyway, yeah, enough of that. I'll catch you guys later. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care.